Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Now, we are going to discuss the question answers based on the second topic of Unit 4. The first question based on the second topic we are taking, define tribe. So, here we can mention that according to MD Majumdar, a tribe is a collection of families bearing a common name, members of which occupy the same territory, speak the same language, and observe certain taboos regarding the marriage, profession or occupation, and have developed a well-established system of hierarchy, well-established system of obligation. So that will be defined as tribe. So according to this, when they have asked define tribe, so you can mention the statement of MD Majumdar. Here, the next question they are asking based on the topic 2. Who are the scheduled tribes? So here we have to mention scheduled tribes are those tribes which are scheduled or listed or specified by presidential order issued under the provision of article. Here we have to mention here that they are already mentioned under article 341 and 342 of our constitution, of the Constitution of India, for the sake of special protection, just to protect them from any kind of exploitation. This sort of term has been used and the provision has been given in our Indian Constitution. The next one they have asked based on the same topic, what is the total percentage of scheduled tribes according to 2011 census? So according to 2011 census, we have to mention the total percentage of scheduled tribes is 8.08%. Now based on the next question they have asked, who are PTGs? So here we have to firstly give the full form of this abbreviation, that PTG stands for Primitive Tribal Groups. That is Primitive Tribal Group. These are the people under the scheduled tribes category who are classified separately because of their low population, low literacy and primitive agricultural practices. And here the next they have asked, which article of the Constitution of India deals with Nagaland? So we have to mention the article 371A deals with Nagaland. Now we are going to take the short question answers based on the second topic. Here they have asked question number 2. Here they have asked, what are the constitutional measures for scheduled tribes with regard to education? So we will mention the intro here. The constitutional measures for scheduled tribes with regard to education are: then reservation of seats in educational institutions. So we will mention about the reservation of seats in many of the educational institutions like colleges and other professional courses. Secondly, we will mention about the relaxation in requirement for admission in professional college. Besides that, if we talk about the relaxation is also given to these scheduled tribes for appearing for any government exam also. Besides that, scholarship, particularly post-matric scholarship and research scholarship provision is also there for them. The next one, what are the constitutional measures for the scheduled tribe with regard to employment? So here what sort of opportunities they are getting related to employment? Here we can mention that reservation for jobs in government service, provision is there. and now even it has been extended to private sector also. Beside that, various schemes for encouraging self-employment under the Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India and the National Scheduled Tribes Finance Development Corporation is also one of the provisions related to these scheduled tribes. In the next one, they have asked, what are the constitutional measures for scheduled tribes with regard to integration? So here we have to mention the different provisions are given. The first one we can mention, reservation of seats for these tribals in legislature, both in Lok Sabha and the State Assembly. Then safeguard of tribal rights in their land and prevention of land alienation is also one of the provisions given to them. Then safeguard of their culture, language and traditional institute is also the provision just to protect their identity. The next question they have asked, distinguish between scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So we have to define the meaning of the both. We can say that scheduled caste is the term used by the Simon Commission and then incorporated into the Government of India Act of 1935 and was adopted for caste which were given special provisions under compensatory or positive discrimination and are known by the different names such as untouchables or Harijans, even the Dalits. The different names were given to them. We have already discussed that how Dalit term was used by B.R. Ambedkar, Harijan term was used for these scheduled caste by Mahatma Gandhi. So these also you can mention here. We can also mention that scheduled caste do not form a homogeneous group and have some internal differences on the basis of the occupation, their numerical strength, geographical spread as well as ritual status, and that's why they are segregated from the other caste on the basis of untouchability and ritual impurity. Then scheduled tribes, if we need to define, we can say these are the group of people who are scheduled or listed separately or specified by presidential order issued under the provision of Article 341 and 342. According to that article, they have been specified as the separate group. And this provision basically has been given just for the protection of these groups because they are isolated from the other population, from the other caste group, and for their protection and just to protect them from any sort of exploitation in the society. That sort of provision has been given for their protection. Based on essay type questions, they have asked, discuss the major problems of scheduled tribes. So here we have to mention what are the problems associated with these scheduled tribes people. Although the problem of OBC that we have discussed or we have discussed the problem associated with scheduled caste are almost same, but few differences are there that we have to mention here, and these are the essay type questions, so make sure that intro and the conclusion you are going to give, and in between the headings will be given and the explanation accordingly. So here we can mention the major problems related to scheduled tribes are, first one is land alienation. Tribal land is rich in different resources, so due to this some outsider and even the government, if we talk about, much of the land has been taken, which led to the exploitation of these tribal people, and they don't have a place to settle down in their own area. So these kind of problems are there. That's why this land alienation policy has been adopted, just to improve their condition, just to have them the access to their own land. The second problem occurring among them is poverty and unemployment. So here we have to mention that economically they are poor and they are dependent on the other groups, other caste groups, which sometimes leads to exploitation and then creating problem for these tribal people. The next problem we can mention, indebtedness, as they are not fully self-reliant, so they have to depend on other people, and for that purpose they are taking the loans also. Sometimes they are not able to pay back the loan due to the poverty and unemployment, which is creating the problem for them. So that also is going to be the problem when they are taking the loan and they are not able to repay. So they are coming under the vicious circle of debt, where they have taken loan and not able to repay the same. Another problem related to these people can be taken as health issues and nutrition problem, because they have lack of nutrition, they are not having the proper access to all these sources, which is creating the problem. And besides that, illiteracy and lack of education is also creating the problem, which ultimately leading to their poverty and unemployment. So these are some of the problems that we have discussed here related to scheduled tribes. The next one, state the constitutional provision for scheduled tribes in India. So all the three measures that we have discussed in the previous questions, based on the different measures related to education, we have to mention separately what are the different provisions given under that, and then we have to mention the measures related to employment, all those points, how the reservation has been given to them. So that will be included in this second topic, in this second point. And the third one, measures related to integration. The third point you are going to mention that, and under that you are going to mention the sub point regarding the safeguard of tribal groups and regarding the safeguard of their culture, tradition and language, how the provision already mentioned in our constitution. So all these points we are going to mention here in this question. Then next they have asked, who are scheduled tribes? Describe 5 important problems of the scheduled tribes. Scheduled tribes, firstly you have to define, although we have already discussed about that. So that meaning you will mention how they are scheduled or listed by the presidential orders issued under the provision of article issued under the provision of article 341 and 342. Then the 5 problem you have to mention, already the problem that we have mentioned here, the problem related to land alienation, the problem related to unemployment and poverty, problem related to health and nutrition, problem related to illiteracy and lack of education, and indebtedness, or any of these 5 problems you can mention along with heading, and the explanation is need to be done.